Hello and welcome to the SmartBear Founder Series. We're here today to hear from the founders of HipTest, which is now known as Cucumber Studio. More on that to come. But I am here with Laurent P, Séverine Darlot, and Christophe Bliard from HipTest, now Cucumber Studio, now SmartBear. So I will let you introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about what you do at the company. So starting with Laurent.
Hi, I'm Laurent. I'm a Vice President of Product at SmartBear. I lead test management and BDD business unit. And I joined SmartBear, in fact, 2 years ago. So that's an anniversary for me and for the team. I joined SmartBear through the acquisition of HipTest, so the company we co-founded, and so far it has been a very beautiful venture.
Excellent. And Séverine, introduce yourself. What were you doing before you joined HipTest?
Yes. So I'm Séverine Darlot. I live in France and I'm Director of Engineering at SmartBear. I discovered software development at the university, and for me it was amazing to be able to create something from nothing, just your brain. And at the end of my studies, I decided to do a PhD in the field of the software testing, and just after I discovered agility. From this moment, notion of code quality, continuous integration, TDD, pair programming are principles I promote within my dev team. And I always work in companies that were developing tools for software testing. And before we came together to found HipTest, I used to work at Smart Testing as a team manager and web software developer.
Fantastic. And Christophe?
Yeah, hello. So I'm Christophe Bliard, and I'm currently one of the product owners of Cucumber Studio. And I've always been passionate about computers and development. And when I joined my first job, I was doing Python, and I was in an extreme programming environment, and I learned a lot about agile development. And since then, I think I have never developed without doing TDD, except maybe for pet projects. And so before founding HipTest, I too worked at Smart Testing, and I was mainly in charge of ops stuff and backend development and security also.
Super. So I was going to ask, how did you all meet? It sounds like at least two of you were at Smart Test before, but we'd love to hear kind of the story of how you got together to form this idea.
I just have a secret to unveil, Cynthia. I was one of the co-founder and the CEO of Smart Testing.
Ah.
So, that's the thing we have in common with all this team. But Séverine, if you want to expand on this.
Yes, in fact, I did my studies in the same university of Laurent. And during my PhD, I met him because he was a previous PhD student of my director of thesis. It was in the early 2000s. And the next, Laurent hired me in his first startup, so Smart Testing, to be part of the development team. I really began to work with Laurent when he asked me to be the manager of the dev team. It was in 2013. And I started working with Christophe, Vincent, and Johan, the two other founders of HipTest that year. Christophe, do you want to say how I met you?
Well,
no? Yeah.
I wasn't prepared.
No, I can say it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I in fact, for Christophe, I remember we met us. It was at the late of 2000s. It was during an agility workshop, and I knew he was passionate about development and DevOps. So, as we needed DevOps skills in our team, at this moment I contacted him. And for Vincent, I met him a long time ago because he was at the same university in the same time of me. And I called him when we needed in our team someone who has skills of web software development. And finally, regarding Johan, he joined our team as an intern, and he was one of the best interns I ever known. That's how we started working all together in smart testing.
Very, very nice. And we have a worldwide audience listening to our founder series, and folks are interested in what it's like to start a company in different countries. Can you talk about how you went about, did you need to go fundraising? Were there any challenges or things that made it easier or harder to start a tech company in France at the time?
I would say has progressively become a paradise for entrepreneurs. So, I mean, in terms of technology, like any other countries, we have access to resources that we need to a software company. So this is not a deal. But in terms of finance, in terms of support that we get from the government, over the years, I've seen a huge improvement. And for example, at the time of smart testing, I've been able to raise.
Oh, I think we've lost Laurent.
I think so. We will have to do it again.
Yeah.
You can pause.
It is choppy again.
So you chop.
I was gonna say I'm still seeing his video totally frozen on there. That may just be on my end. But.
No, I have.
Maybe you have some other service.
So what enabled this group to work so well together?
Well, I think it's trust for one part, and we have a lot of specialty. Each of us is a T-shaped person, meaning we all know a lot about a lot of technical subjects, but we all have a specialty. For example, Laurent, it's business and commercial stuff. Séverine, it's all about methodology. Myself, I'm about ops and backend development. Vincent is our Swiss Army knife guy. And Johan is really great at doing front-end stuff. So having this kind of competencies inside the team helped us work very well together. And we knew each other before.
That's great. Everybody complemented each other's skills, it sounded like, and brought something unique to the table. That's so important. So can you tell us, Laurent, a little bit about the entrepreneurial environment that you had in France at the time in technology that enabled you to start the company and raise funds and get support for the founding of HipTest?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, definitely over the years, France has become a paradise for tech entrepreneurs. I mean, from a technology standpoint, like any other countries, we have access to very cheap resources to create our cloud infrastructure and develop our software. But in terms of funding, financing, and support that we get from the government, France has done huge improvement the last, I would say, 15 years. For example, with my previous company, Smart Testing, that we discussed, I've been able to raise $12 million. And for HipTest, when started the company, we've been able to get some subsidiaries, 500K, which was huge for us in order to bootstrap the company. And then after 12 months of success, we've been able to raise Series A, 500K with an investor. So I would say access to funding was pretty easy and is still pretty easy.
Super.
Yes, and we can add also that that wouldn't have been possible if we had not been supported by the French employment, which gives a lot of help in setting up a business. It allows us to not lose any income during the 10 months of the creation of the company. And it was very important because we have some kids, we have to raise them. So it was really, really important to know that we could do that in security.
That's very nice. It takes some risk out of the whole process, which is wonderful. What were some of the common challenges around software delivery? You were all, developers. You've been in very technical fields. What did you see as the problems out there in general in the industry that the world needed a solution like HipTest at the time?
Cyril and Christophe, I thought that's the one you wanted to answer.
And Séverine, you can start with that.
In fact, I remember that we had to work with HPLM and Rational Quality Manager, and I remember that I really didn't understand how testers could use this tool. They were so complicated to use and old-fashioned with long feedback loop, with long yes, it was very, very complicated. You need to click in so many parts to write your test. And I would like people can write their test as if they write a novel easily. And moreover, the maintenance was really awful. It was not possible to do refactoring of your test easily. So there was something to do.
So that, I think that really started with a pain that we have all experienced ourselves as part of the smart testing company, having to work and deal with, as you say, the HP and IBM. And we thought, guys, there is definitely another way. Our team was operating with the agile model, and there was a huge disconnect, right, between the solution we had to use or the partnership we had to deal with and what we were experiencing as a dev team or operating model. So I think that it has been the main trigger for starting HipTest.
Every great company starts with solving a pain that's out there that nobody else has addressed yet. For sure. Christophe, did you have anything to add?
No, I think everything has been said. We started with solving tester problems because of maintenance pains. We wanted to bring them the same kind of flexibility developers have with their IDE. And then we thought, oh, the same tests we wrote for the tester, maybe we can use them and export them to test scripts so we can have also alignment with developers. And then naturally, we were bringing also product teams together, and adopting BDD was a natural shift to get everyone aligned on the same definition of them.
Super. And Séverine, you talked about this a little bit, that with the help of the French government and policies in place, there's a lot of de-risking of the process of starting a company. But it's still risky. It's still, there's no guarantee of success. How did you weigh that in your mind when you said you're going to leave something more, permanent and just start something brand new?
Yes. In fact, at the beginning, it was an idea of Laurent. But as soon as he talked to me about it, I wanted to do it. I already seen Laurent create a company, so I was completely confident in his leadership quality. And it was very exciting. But the biggest risk was financial because of the children, the loans to repay. So we decided to work on the project for 8 months to see if we were successful. And if it hadn't, we would have stopped the whole thing. But hopefully everything go well. So after the 8 months, we kept going. And I'm very happy with that.
That is great. And Laurent, you seem to come in with confidence, and you had done it before. Some say, you know, serial entrepreneur. Were there any other risks going through your mind with this?
Oh, definitely many risks. I think the most important thing. So I remember when after Séverine, we decided to get together all the teams. So 5 of my best engineers at that time in the living room, discussing this new opportunity, to start a new company together. And yeah, everyone was talking about the risk that they would take. I think the most important thing here was to get aligned on, so let's identify, surface all the risks together, and let's have a clear plan and timeline. As Séverine said, if by that time we don't see the project taking off, then that means that's not the best idea to invest on, and we should all do something else, maybe another company, or join a more established company. But we had I would say, clear milestone, so that helps to de-risk the project. At least for the team, on my side, I probably have a different vision of the risk. I'm more willing to take risk. No risk, no fun. You know.
Yeah. That's a great lesson. And also putting some time around it. You said you'll give it 8 months and then make a decision, and it just kept on growing, which is super.
Yeah.
What has been the most rewarding thing about your journeys as entrepreneurs?
So to me, it has always been the opportunity to meet absolutely great people. So that's about the team we've built, 20 talents, and I really love each of them. I'm super proud that after 5 years, I mean, we started the company beginning of 2015. Every single member, so co-founder and people we have employed, are still working in this group. So I'm super proud of that. And beyond the team itself, that's all the investors, the SmartBear team, and the partners, the customers. I've had the opportunity to talk to so brilliant people that have helped me to grow and continue to do so. So I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah, I'm completely agree. I'm also very proud of all the work we've done. It's really great to see that the software we develop is being used and that it's bringing value to our user. And of course, it's really nice to be able to hire new people, to give them work, and to see they are happy to work with you.
Yeah, and from a more selfish point of view, I think also what I like in this journey is being able to foster the kind of culture we wanted to work with, being able to build what you would like, where you would like to work.
Yeah, building that culture is so important. And then just the satisfaction of seeing customers happy and using your product is great. That's great. And lastly, do you have advice for other entrepreneurs out there who are looking to start a new company? Any pieces of wisdom from your experience?
Well, I would say that first, that's super good timing, because crisis means changes, and every change is an opportunity. So we should never let a crisis go to the trash. And what I've seen from my own experience is that usually the frustration or the pains that we feel is a great fuel for creating a new startup. So you should definitely, as an entrepreneur or willing to create a new company, identify the pain that you are experiencing, or that you see friends or teammates experiencing. That means there is probably a great business idea behind that. And the most usually the biggest, I would say, mistake that we do is focus too much on the product and not focus enough on the go-to-market. But what I've realized over the 15 years of working as an entrepreneur is that creating the product, building the product is not the most difficult thing. Making sure we have the product market fit and having the right go-to-market is probably the most difficult thing. So thinking about the go-to-market from day one is definitely critical, and that's something we've done, I would say, pretty well at HipTest when we decided to integrate with Jira and be part of the Atlassian marketplace. That's when we started to see the traffic increasing like crazy, the number of trials. So yeah, you should mind the go-to-market for sure.
Great advice. Yep.
Yeah.
Any other
I can
wisdom?
add also that another important point is to have a great leader, because it would never be possible without Laurent. Clearly.
True.
Super.
Thank you, Sarah.
That's
Very sweet. Okay.
Let's do that.
Okay, thank you so much for joining us today. And we will continue the conversation with the HipTest team and learn how HipTest and Cucumber came together and into forming a next iteration of the organization. Thank you all so much.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.